So welcome back again, students, to another video lesson. So we are now on our third quarter for grade 10 mathematics. So for the first week, we will be discussing about on how to illustrate permutations. So kung ano ang ibig sabihin po ng permutations, so i-discuss ko po yan sa ating video lesson. So for the lesson objectives, we will define factorial. And then we will illustrate permutation of objects using different methods. So first on the list, what is factorial? So in mathematics, factorial refers to the product of all positive integers less than or equal to a particular positive integer. It is usually denoted by that integer and an exclamation point. So para mas maintindihan niyo po kung ano ibig sabihin ng factorial, so ito po yung kanyang notation. So n factorial is equal to n times the quantity of n minus 1 times up to times 1. So kapag kinukuha po natin ang factorial ng isang number, nililista lang po natin yung mga numbers pababa. And then after nating i-list down yung mga numbers na yon, i-multiply lang po natin yon. So kukunin lang po natin yung product. And then note that 0 factorial is equal to 1. Okay, so kapag tinanong po tayo, what is 0 factorial? The answer will always be 1. So wala po tayong ibang sagot kundi 1. So let us have activity 1.1. So for you to be able to understand what is factorial, so kung paano nga ba yan sinosolve, so we will evaluate the following. So first on the list is 3 factorial. So our given is 3 factorial. So all we need to do is to list down the numbers, so all positive numbers, integers, equal or less than 3. So ang gagawin lang natin, 3 factorial is equal to 3 times 2 times 1. So ililista lang po natin yung mga numbers starting from 3 up to 1. And then yung mga nalista natin, i-multiply lang po natin yan. So that is 3 times 2, that is 6. Times 1. So the answer for 3 factorial is 6. Next, 5 factorial. So ganun lang din po ang gagawin natin. So ililist down natin yung mga numbers pababa hanggang sa 1. So 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And then we'll just simply multiply those numbers. So 5 times 4 is 20, times 3, 60, times 2 is 120, and then times 1, that is 120. It means 5 factorial is equal to 120. And then last one is 8 factorial. So yung technique lang po dito, so ilista lang po natin yung mga numbers pababa up to 1. So hindi po tayo dapat nag-i-start sa 1. So mag-i-start po tayo ng paglilista dun sa mismong given number. Okay. And then, as long as yung number tumataas, so yung product din po tumataas, of course. So 8 factorial will become 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. The answer is 40,320. Sir, paano po nakuha ang 40,320? Again, we'll just multiply 8 times 7 times 6 up to 1. So, ang makukuha po nating product is 40,320. So, let's have activity 1.2. Simplify the following. 8 factorial over 5 factorial. So, ang gagawin lang po natin dito, isi-simplify natin by getting the factorial of the numerator and the denominator. Okay. So, ang gagawin po natin, ililist down lang natin yung factors ng 8 factorial, pababa. So, and then, hindi po natin dito ililista hanggang 1. So, why is it hindi natin ililista? It's because, pwede naman tayong tumigil dun sa 5 factorial and then, i-cancel out lang natin yon. So, pakita muna natin yung mahabang paraan. So, 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. All over 5 factorial, that will become 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And then, i-cancel out po natin 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And then, i-multiply po natin yung mga remaining factors. So, 8 times 7 times 6. The answer is 336. Next, gamit yung pinakamadaling paraan naman. So, ganito siya. 7 factorial over 2 factorial, 3 factorial. So, yung operation po natin dito sa denominator is multiplication. So, lista lang natin yung factors ng 7 factorial hanggang 3 factorial. So, magiging 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 factorial. So, yung dots po na nakikita nyo po na yan. So, yung operation po natin dyan is multiplication. So, and then, 2 factorial, pwede natin express as 2 times 1. And then, yung 3 factorial, iwan lang natin na ganyan. So, ika-cancel natin ngayon yung 3 factorial sa numerator saka sa denominator. And then, pwede rin natin i-cancel out yung 2 saka yung 4. So, maka-cancel yung 2 sa denominator and then yung 4 sa numerator magiging 2 na lang. And then, lista natin yung mga factors. So, 7 times 6 times 5 times 2 over 1. And then, yung sagot natin sa dito, pag dinivide natin sa 1, yun lang din naman nasa numerator. So, we'll just simply get the product of the numerator. So, 7 times 6 is 42 times 5, that is 210 times 2, 420. So, yan po yung ating simplified na sagot. So, let us now move on to definition of permutation. So, permutation is the arrangement of objects considering the order of the objects. In short, order matters. Okay, so, ang pinaka-point lang naman ng permutation na ito is yung arrangement ng objects. So, meron pong arrangement na sinusundan kapag inaayos po natin yung mga bagay. Like, for example, ayan. So, meron po tayong tatlong letters dyan, X, Z, Y. Okay, so kung i-arrange po natin yung mga given letters sa kung paano sila nakaayos sa alphabet, so hindi po yan ang ating sagot. So, ang ating sagot po is X, Y, Z. So, yan lang din po ang definition kung paano natin mas maintindihan yung permutation. So, order matters. So, there are ways on how to illustrate permutation of objects. So, ito yung mga paraan kung paano natin ipinapakita kung paano iayos yung mga bagay. So, we use factorial notation. So, yung diniscuss ko kanina. And then, fundamental counting principle. And then, we also use tree diagram. And then, listing method or yung tinatawag nilang systematic listing. So, let us have the first method. What is fundamental counting principle? So, in fundamental counting principle, if there are P ways to do one thing and Q ways to do another thing, then there are P times Q ways to do both. Okay, like for example, kung inaayos natin yung mga numbers, like for example, dito yung mga numbers, 1, 2, 3. Ayan. Ito yung P. And then, yung ating mga letters naman, Q. So, A, B, C. So, kung tinatanong tayo kung ilang ways natin pwedeng i-arrange yung pinagsamang letters and numbers, so, i-multiply lang po natin kung ilan yung ways na i-arrange yung P, tsaka i-arrange yung Q. Okay? So, kung ano yung naging product po nun, yun po ang ating magiging sagot. So, that is how you define fundamental counting principle. So, ang pinaka-operation na ginagamit po natin dito is, of course, multiplication. So, let us have an example. In how many ways can you arrange the letters P, Q, R, and S? Okay. So, ang una nating i-identify dito is yung bilang ng objects. So, dito since letters ang pinag-uusapan natin, number of letters. So, bibilangin natin 1, 2, 3, 4. It means n is equal to 4. Now, let's have n factorial. So that is 4 factorial. And then express lang natin yung 4 factorial as 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So if we will multiply 4, 3, 2, and 1, so our answer is 24. So 4 factorial is equal to 24. It means there are 24 ways on how to arrange the letters P, Q, R, and S. So yun po yung bilang ng paraan paano natin isasaayos yung mga given letters. So maari po kasi nag-start po tayo sa letter P, then letter Q, letter R, and letter S. So basta po yung sagot po natin dyan is 24 ways. Next example naman, so as you can see, meron po tayo dyan, family picture. So meron tayo 3 children, 1 father, and 1 mother. So the question is, in how many ways can a family of 5 members be arranged in a row for picture taking? Okay, so kung magpapapicture po yung ating family na yan, no, na may 5 members in a row, ayan, nakaayos po sila in a row, in a line. Okay, so in how many ways can they take pictures? So since n is equal to 5, so kukunin lang po natin yung 5 factorial. So express natin 5 factorial as 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So multiply po natin yan lahat. The answer is 120. So ibig sabihin, meron po tayong 120 ways para i-arrange po yung family of 5 members na yan for picture taking. Next, after natin sa fundamental counting principle, so we'll have tree diagram. So kahit nag-iba na po yung method ng ating pag-illustrate ng permutation of objects, we will still use fundamental counting principle for counter-checking of our answers. So when we say tree diagram, this is commonly used in mathematics in order to calculate the number of possible outcomes of a particular event or problem. Okay, so kung yung fundamental principle po is kinakalculate niya lang kung ilan yung total na paraan. So dito sa tree diagram, nakikita po natin dito yung mga mismong objects. And then bibilangin natin dito yung mga possible outcomes. So since tree diagram po ang ating pinag-uusapan, of course, meron po tayo dyang makikitang parang mga branches. So sanga-sanga. So let us have an example. So a family has 3 children. Construct a tree diagram to show the possible genders of the children. So para ipakita po using tree diagram yung possible na maging genders ng tatlong anak ng isang family, so we'll use B and G. So B stands for boy, and then G naman for girl. So una muna nating ilista is yung boy. Halimbawa boy ang panganay. So paano natin gagawin yon? So lista lang po natin B, and then kung B or boy ang una nilang anak, so sa pangalawa maaari pong B or G. So maaring boy pa rin or girl na. And then sa pangatlong anak, yung pinakabunso, ganun pa rin po. It's either B or G. And then what if ang panganay is girl? So G. And then pangalawa naman, maaring boy or girl. And then same pa rin sa pangatlo, maaring boy or girl. So kung bibilangin natin kung ilan yung mga possible genders na yan, yung possible combinations ng kanilang mga anak, so dito tayo mag-i-start. So dito muna sa B. So maaring yung anak niya, boy, boy, boy. Lahat boys. So maaring boy, boy, girl. Boy, girl, boy. Boy, girl, girl. Sa kabila naman, maaring girl, boy, boy. Girl, boy, girl. Girl, girl, boy. O kaya naman, girl, girl, girl. So you can see, nung binilang po natin, meron po tayong 8 possible outcomes. So yan po yung ating hinahanap, 8 possible outcomes. Now, to answer the question, how many possible outcomes are there in all? Okay. So, kung gagamitin po natin yung Fundamental Counting Principle, FCP, so ililista po natin yung tatlong guhit. So, yan po yung magiging anak ng mag-asawa. So, and then, sa first baby nila, second, and third, ayan. So, sa first baby po, maaring boy or girl yung outcome. So, ilalagay po natin 2. And then, sa second po, ganun din po, 2. And then, sa third, 2. So, and then, yung ating mga nilista na yan is, i-multiply po natin. So, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2, 8. So, ang sagot po natin kanina is 8 possible outcomes. As you can see, using Fundamental Counting Principle, napatunayan natin na there are 8 possible outcomes. So, next method natin is listing method. So, what is listing method? So, listing method is basically one of the useful methods to determine the number of permutations made for each problem. So, the word itself, listing. So, ang ginagawa lang po natin dito, of course, is listing. Nililista yung mga possible outcomes, yung mga possibilities. So, sa isang problem. And then, we can still apply Fundamental Counting Principle again to counter-check our answers. So, for our example, Webster Moore bought a 4-digit combination lock for his bicycle last week. However, he forgot the code. That is why he won't be able to use it today. He only remembered that the code contains the digit 1, 5, 7, and 8. List down all possible codes and determine the number of permutations made. Okay. So, si Webster Moore, bumili po siya ng combination lock. So, syempre, kapag meron tayong combination lock, sinisecure natin yung ating mga gamit. So, syempre, kapag merong combination lock yung bicycle, hindi po ito pwedeng gamitin. Okay. So, naalala lang po ni Webster Moore yung 4 na digits ng kanyang lock, 1, 5, 7, 8. So, hindi po yan mismo ang kanyang code. So, yan lang po yung mga digits na naaalala niya. So, ililista ngayon natin yung mga possible codes. So, paano natin ililista yon? So, mag-i-start po tayo. Ang pinaka-technique po dito, nililista po dapat natin yung mga numbers na una po yung pinakamababa. Okay. So, in this case, yung pinakauna po natin, 1, 5, 7, 8. And then, pangalawa, 1, 5, 8, 7. And then, after po natin sa 1, 5, pwede natin gamitin 1, 7, 5, 8, 1, 7, 8, 5. And then, ngayon naman, gamitin natin 1, 8, 5, 7, tsaka 1, 8, 7, 5. So, nagamit na po yung first digit na 1. So, yung next na gagamitin natin is 5. So, 5, 1, 7, 8, 5, 1, 8, 7. After natin sa 5, 1, 5, 7 naman. So, 5, 7, 1, 8, 5, 7, 8, 1. Then, 5, 8 naman. 5, 8, 1, 7, 5, 8, 7, 1. So, after natin sa 5, yung kasunod natin na number is 7. So, 7, 1, 5, 8, 7, 1, 8, 5. And then 7, 5, 1, 8, 7, 5, 8, 1, and then 7, 8, 1, 5, and then 7, 8, 5, 1. So, after natin gamitin yung 7 as first digit, 8 naman. So, yung pinaka mataas. So, 8, 1, 5, 7, 8, 1, 7, 5, and then 8, 5, 1, 7, 8, 5, 7, 1, 8, 7, 1, 5, and then 8, 7, 5, 1. So, yan lahat po ang mga possible codes na pwedeng gamitin ni Webster Moore para ma-unlock niya yung combination lock. Okay, so determine the number of permutations made. Okay. So, kung tinatanong lang po kung ilan yung numbers of permutations made, so hindi po natin yan kailangan ilista. So, we'll just use the fundamental counting principle. Wherein, gamit tayo ng mga guhit. So, since 4 digits yon, 4 po na guhit. And then, on the first digit, so, possible po na gamitin lahat yung mga number na yon. So, and then, like for example, sa first digit niya, ginamit mo na yung 1. So, hindi na po yun pwede sa pangalawang digit. So, yung possible outcomes po or possible digits na pwede sa second is 3 na lang. And then, what if nagamit mo na yung 5? So, sa pangatlo, ang pwede mo na lang gamitin is 7 or 8. So, dalawa. And then, ginamit mo ang 7 sa pangatlo. So, ang natitirang digit na pwede mong gamitin sa pang-apat is 1. And then, i-multiply natin yan, 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. The answer is 24. Or simply, yung 4 factorial. Since nagamit naman natin lahat, gagamitin natin yung 4 factorial na yan. And then, tandaan po, since permutation ng ating pinag-uusapan, ang 1578 tsaka 5178 ay magkaiba po. So, kahit na parehong digits po yung ating ginamit, hindi po niya mabubuksan yung lock. It's because kailangan naka-arrange po yung ating mga digits. So what will be our next video lesson? So we will illustrate the following. First, permutation of n objects taken r at a time. So meron na po tayong formula na i-discuss dyan, yung permutation formula, wherein n objects taken r at a time. And then we will illustrate the following types of permutations. So, distinguishable permutation, linear permutation, and circular permutation. So, yun lang. Maraming salamat.